is the new Porsche Cayenne Coupe. Yes, yet another SUV with a coupe swooping roofline. And even though this is a weird niche in the car market, I think this body style fits the Cayenne very well because it makes it look even more like a Porsche than before, especially from this side. But this is no ordinary Cayenne though, it's the turbo version and it's got something quite special underneath the bonnet, but more on that later. The car I'm driving today is finished in this meh Carrara white metallic paint job. It rides on 21-inch RS Spider design wheels and it features the €10,000 lightweight package. In exchange for that lump of cash you get a carbon roof, a carbon diffuser, a sports exhaust with silver tips, 22 wheels that aren't fitted to this particular model, and a slew of interior upgrades that we're going to talk about soon.
Listen, this is a ridiculous car. Can we agree on that? I mean, it's quite expensive for starters. This particular car I'm driving today, equipped with the lightweight carbon package, costs around €200,000. It's massive on the outside, but quite impractical for its size. Then there's the fact that it's a coupe and it only has 4 seats. And if for some reason you decide to buy one of these things, you might as well go for the ridiculous engine as well, right? I mean, why not? Have the full package.
The ridiculous engine powering the Porsche Cayenne Coupe Turbo is this fantastic 4-liter twin-turbo V8 petrol unit capable of producing 550 horsepower and 750 Nm of torque.
And what a monster of an engine this is! It can take this quite massive 2.2-ton SUV to 100 km/h from standstill in under 4 seconds. The acceleration is relentless and quite brutal. And I just love how every single time you floor it, first it sends all the power to the back wheels, making the car feel like it's being pushed, and then immediately it starts distributing the power to the front wheels as well. I just love that. It gives this car quite a unique character. The noise I don't particularly love, but if you're sat outside and the car passes by you, it sounds absolutely stunning. But on the inside, because this car is so well insulated, you can barely hear the V8 rumble, even with the loud button pressed. And I guess I shouldn't be surprised. This is a family SUV at the end of the day, and it's supposed to be quiet and comfortable.
But unfortunately there's an issue with this car, and this is the secret that I mentioned in the title of this video. The Cayenne is the only Porsche not to feature the absolutely fantastic PDK double clutch transmission. Instead, this car has an 8-speed Tiptronic auto.
And that's a problem because Porsches identify themselves with PDKs. Remember my 911 video when I showed how insanely fast the downshift is in normal mode? Well, here's how that looks in the Porsche Cayenne Turbo.
And the reason why the Cayenne doesn't have the PDK is because of the extra towing capacity that this SUV is capable of, which is understandable but also kinda weird. It's understandable because, well, you might want to tow things when you buy such a large and powerful SUV, but it's weird because I haven't really seen anyone tow stuff in their luxury Cayenne, and I've seen a lot of them around Stockholm.
But generally speaking, is that really a problem? Especially when we're talking about a 2.2-ton family SUV? I don't think it is, honestly, because, at least in my opinion, Cayenne buyers look for something different in a car compared to us petrolheads. They also love Porsches, of course, but they need the extra practicality and space that an SUV has to offer.
Plus, I'm not really sure that they'll even notice or even care that the Tiptronic transmission is not as fast as a PDK.
But considering everything I told you before, does the lack of a PDK transmission make this car less fun to drive? Well, yes and no. On the first hand, yes, because the transmission is slower than a PDK. For example, if you're driving in normal mode and you have the Tiptronic transmission in drive and you quickly floor the car and you want to take off, that's not going to happen as fast as in a car with a PDK transmission. But on the other hand, this car is just too soft and too comfortable for petrol heads to notice the lack of a PDK. But put everything into Sport or Sport Plus mode and this car transforms into a quite entertaining car to drive. Every time you put your foot down, the car explodes. It's brutal, relentless, and if you roll your window down, you can also hear that V8 bark like a madman. Such an amazing engine, this one. Wow. Don't expect this Cayenne to handle like a sports car because, for obvious reasons, it won't be able to do that. The driving position is too high, so is the center of gravity of this car, and combined with the fact that this suspension is really comfortable and soft, it doesn't really offer you the confidence to push it through corners. The body roll is significant and the steering is too light for a Porsche, even in Sports Plus mode. Basically, the way you want to drive this car is in a chilled and relaxed manner, and when you see a straight, you just pop it into Sport mode and floor it, of course. You see the lag? That's the gearbox.
The interior is lovely. Remember the lightweight package I mentioned in the beginning? Well, that gets you these carbon fiber inserts over here and this awesome Alcantara GT steering wheel, electrically operated and heated, featuring the driving modes selector. Then you have the Alcantara roof and this gorgeous old school looking upholstery. Leather on the sides and cloth in the middle. The dials are very new 911, you have the analog rev counter in the middle and two screens to the sides that show the other four dials. In the middle of the dashboard there's Porsche's 12.3-inch touchscreen infotainment system and a bunch of buttons near the gear selector. The front seats are the 18 ways adjustable ones, standard on the turbo, and the rear ones are mounted 30mm lower to compensate for the lower roofline. And don't worry, you can have the Cayenne Turbo with a regular bench in the back as a no-cost option. Overall, the build quality and materials used are exceptional, seats are super comfortable, and for a coupe SUV, there's decent amount of space on the inside and in the trunk.
So conclusion time, what's to love and what's to hate about this new Porsche Cayenne Coupe Turbo? Well, even though I'm a Porsche fanboy, I have to be honest and admit the fact that this Cayenne is the first Porsche I drive that doesn't really feel like a Porsche. And it's not just because of the gearbox, it's also because clearly this car has been engineered more for comfort rather than handling. But that's basically the only thing I dislike about this car, because for its purpose, for what this car has been built for, it's absolutely sensational. The engine is phenomenal, the ride is sublime, this interior is exceptional. I especially love these seats with their old school upholstery. They're just lovely and they're very comfortable to sit in. So yeah, not my cup of tea, this new Cayenne, but it's probably the best SUV I've ever driven.